All right. Like I said, today in 6.5 we're talking about multiples, and multiples mean skip counting. One of the ways you can find the least common multiple is by listing out the numbers just like we did GCA. So here we have the example of finding the LCM of 2 and 3. So to find that, we start with listing the multiples of 2. So that's like skip counting by 2. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and on and on and on and on. It never really ends. It just keeps going on and on and on and on. Okay? So we've got 2, and then we list the multiples of 3. 3, 6, 8, 12, what is it next? 15, 18, 21, 24, and it just keeps going on and on and on. Okay? The least common one is the first number they have in common, the smallest number they have in common. Looking at our list, what's the first number that they have in common? 2. 6. They both have 6. 6 is their least common multiple. They have other numbers in common, right? They have 12. They don't have 8. I don't know why 8's there. 9. Sorry. All right. We've got 12. We got 18. We would have 24. We kept going. Okay. But we're looking for the one that's the smallest that they have in common, which is 6. So my LCM, my least common multiple, would be 6. So that's one method for finding the least common multiple. We can also use the slide method to help us find it as well. Okay? I'm showing you both so that you can pick whichever method you want to use. Okay? So if you turn the page, we're going to use the slide method to find the LCM. So they want us to find the LCM of 18 and 24. Okay? We follow the slide method the same way we follow it for the GCF. And what were our 6 numbers? Like if we don't know what to do, what are the 6 numbers that we try? 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 13. Okay? 17 would work as well. Okay? This is a starting point. Do we only have to use these numbers? No. If you know your multiplication facts and you know something that 18 and 24 have in common already that's not on this list, you can use that. And if the bigger the number, the less amount of steps you have to take. So if you think about 18 and 24, what do they have in common? 6. Okay? So we would do 18 divided by 6 is 3. And we would do 24 divided by 6, which is 4. 3 and 4 are back to back on the number line. So that tells me that's as low as they can go. Nothing else goes into 3 and 4. They don't have anything else in common. The only thing they have in common is the factor of 1, 3 and 4. So last week, the GCF, we would look at our slide, and what would the GCF have been? Looking at our slide, what's our GCF here? 6. This on the side is our GCF. To find the LCM, all we do is make an L with the numbers on the outside. We multiply those together, and that's going to give you LCM. So 6 times 3 times 4 is 72. So our LCM here is 72.
So what the least common
What if you have multiple numbers?
Yeah. So like, let's say we had not started with 6. Let's say we had started with 2. If I have 18 and 24, now let's say my mathing is just not working today. So I try 2. I would do 18 divided by 2 is 9. 24 divided by 2 is 12. I would try and go again. What goes into 9 and 12? 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. They're back to back on the number line, so I can't go any further. So you would still multiply all these numbers together, and you would still get 72. Okay, but that's just more steps. If you know your multiplication facts and you can pick a bigger number to start with, you'll have less steps to have to do. That's the benefit of knowing your multiplication facts. Okay? So that's what your homework is over tonight is LCM. So make sure you're paying attention and not GCF, but you're doing the LCM. So here we have a few practice problems. The first part they want us to list, right here it says factors. It should not say factors. It should say multiples. When I made this sheet, I wasn't thinking, but it should say multiples. So we're going to practice some with the listing method, and we're going to practice some with the slide method, and then at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell you which one to use. You pick the best method for you, okay? So if we start off by listing them, we have 2 and 5. If I skip count by 2, I go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and I'm going to stop. Then I skip count by 5, and I go 5, 10, and I can stop because I already have something in common. What's in common? 10. They both have 10 in common. So 10 would be your answer. 10 is your LCM.
I'll probably be better.
Yeah, y'all learned this before.
I'll probably be better off doing that before.
Alright, so
Wait, can you do it on the slide?
yeah, you could do this with the slide. So if I came over here and I did 2 and 5 and I want to do the slide, nothing goes into 2 and 5. The only thing that goes in there is 1, and 2 divided by 1 is 2, and 5 divided by 1 is 5. When you multiply those numbers together, you still get 10. The beauty about using the slide is that you can also see the GCF at the end as well. So sometimes they may be asking for GCF and LCM, and so if they're asking for both, it's easier to just go ahead and do the slide because you end up with both numbers instead of having to list out the factors and list out the multiples. It's kind of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So factors are the numbers that multiply to get that number. So like the factor of 2 are the only ways you multiply to get 2, which is 1 and 2. The multiples are the skip counting, are the products of 2. Does that make sense? Yes, sir.
If you have complicated non-number, you multiply it like that. You can
Not always.
Yeah.
So like looking at number 2, you have 2, 4, and 6. So you can list out your multiples of 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. I'm going to stop right there. And then 6 is 6, 12.
We can stop.
And we can stop because we already have something in common, which is 12. If I did the slide method to this, if I had 4 and 6, what do 4 and 6 have in common? 2. 4 divided by 2 is, and 6 divided by 2 is, and you know you can stop because they're back to back. So when you multiply those together, it gives you 12. The only thing about the slide is basically you're doing both of them at the same time. So it's really whatever method you prefer to use. Okay. If you flip it over, there's some bigger numbers that I want you to see. You have 48 and 120. You can either list it or do the slide. But if I did the slide, 48 and 120, what would you want to start with 48?
48.
12? 12. Let's start with 12. Okay? 48 divided by 12 is
4.
4. 120 divided by 12 is
10. 2.
48 divided by 2 is
2.
4 divided by 2 is 2, and 10 divided by 2 is
5. Is this the LCM or the
we're finding the LCM. So then we multiply all these numbers together. And what do you get? 240. What would my GCF be here?
I mean, it would be 44.
24, because you have 12 times 2, which is 24. This was 12. 12. Alright, now we have 45 and 270. 45 and 270. Do you want to slide it or do you want to list it? Okay.
You can start with
You start with 9. 45 divided by 9 is 270 divided by 9 is
30. You can do 5 again.
5.
5.
5 divided by 5 is 30 divided by 5 is 6. You can't go any lower, can you? So you multiply all those numbers together,
270.
and you get 200. And your GCF would be, no, your GCF would be 45. Your GCF, this right here, is 45. 9 times 5 is 45. Alright, so now we have this word problem. Okay, and this is a perfect example of when you would use LCM. Okay? It's like they're preparing for a party. Like if I was preparing for a Christmas party for all of my classes or something like that. Okay? It says plastic plates come in packs of 8, 12, and 20. What is the least number of packs you should buy in order to have the same number of plates, utensils, and cups? I don't know if you've ever been to the party section. You try to buy plates and utensils and cups, but they don't come in the same packs. Like your packs of plates are one number, and your packs of forks is another number, and your packs of cups are a different number. It's never all just 10, 10, 10. I don't know why they do it that way, but it's a little frustrating. They're usually in groups of 10, 12, and 16, or 8, 10, and 20. It's just all over the place. So this is going to teach me how do I know so that I have the same amount of cups that I do utensils, that I do plates. You can use the LCM to figure this out. Even though there are 3 numbers, you can still do this. So you've got 8, 12, and 20. I'm going to label what these represent so that because it's a word problem, so these numbers mean something. The 8 represents what? Represents the plates. Plastic plates comes in 8. The 12 represents the utensils. And your 20 is the number of cups. Okay. What can go into 8, 12, and 20? 4. I heard 4. Let's try 4 first. See if we can try the bigger number. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. Is there anything that can go in all 3 of these numbers? Is there any, what? Is there anything that can go in 2 of these numbers?
Yes.
What?
2.
2 will go into 2, but will 2 go into 3?
No.
Will it go into 5? No, so that won't work.
What about 1?
The only thing that's going to work is 1, so that means we're done. So what is the LCM here? 4 times 2 times 3 times 5.
120.
Gives me 120. This is not the number of packs. Because if you go back to your question, it says, what's the least number? Least number was my keyword that we're doing LCM of packs. All right. The LCM is telling me how many total I need. So I need a total of 120 plates. I need 120 utensils. I need 120 cups. Okay, so that would be like me buying for all my classes or all the 6th grade. Okay, if we are having a Christmas party celebration and I would need to buy for the whole 6th grade. Okay, if plates come in packs of 8, how many packs do I need to get to 120? 8 times what gets me to 120? How many times am I going to have to buy 8 packs? What?
15.
15. Okay. And my utensils comes in packs of 12. So how many packs of 12 am I going to have to buy to get to 120? 10. And my cups comes in packs of 20. So how many packs of cups am I going to have to buy? 6. This is my answer. 15 packs of plates, 10 packs of utensils, and 6 packs of cups is what you're going to need. Okay? 120 is the number that they're all going to have in common that we can get to. Okay, so you have to be careful to see what question is asking. Tomorrow, we're going to do something with word problems. We're going to look at the difference between GCF and LCM word problems because you got to know the difference, and then we're going to do a project with those. Okay, y'all get to work with posters and all that fun stuff.
Tomorrow.
You get to work in the pairs and groups and stuff like that. Okay, so starting tomorrow. So, just a heads up for that class.
How many in a group?
We'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay. Are there any questions on how to do LCM with the slide or with the listing method? No.
Listing easy.
All right. Some of you are getting where there are 3 numbers, like on your homework tonight. There's one that has 3 numbers. You have 8, 10, and 16. And if we wanted to do the LCM here, you have to do, when you're working with 3 numbers, it's a little bit different than just 2 numbers. What do 8, 10, and 16 have in common? 2. All right? 8 divided by 2 is
4, 10, 5, 16, 8.
all right. Is there a number that all 3 have in common here?
No.
Only
There's a number that 2 of them have.
So the answer might be 1.
So you got 4 and 8. It's okay to look at the 2 that are the same. What can go into 4 and 2? 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And since 5 doesn't work, what you do is you just bring the 5 down. And then you just do any of these have anything in common?
4 is
2 and 4, again. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then bring your 5 down. Now, is there anything that any of them have in common? So then you multiply all of those numbers
80.
to get your LCM. So there's 8 times 5 times 2, which ends up being
60.
80. It's not 6. It's not 2, 4, 6. It's 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 again is 8. Times 1 is 8. Times 5 times 2. Alright. That only works for LCM. If you've got 3 numbers and you're doing GCF, if we were trying to find the GCF of 8, 10, and 16, what was the only thing that they had in common? 2. So that was 4, 5, and 8. If you're talking about GCF, it has to have all of them in common. Since 4 and 8 have something in common, but 5 doesn't, that's as low as you can go for GCF. Your GCF for these three numbers is just 2. Okay? The LCM, you can keep going. Okay? I just wanted to show that to you in case you see it on your homework or somewhere like that. Most of the time, they're only going to give you 2 numbers, but there might be a chance that they give
I
you
have a question.
3. Yes.
16, is there only 2 numbers? It's on our homework.
On your homework, number 16. Let me see it real quick. Yeah, there's only 2 numbers. All right. So what we're going to do now is you're going to work on IXL F8. That's talking about your LCM. You can use the listing method or the slide method. Okay. I would use the back of your notes because it is blank. And so there's a scratch work area for you to use that. This is the only IXL we're going to do this week. Okay, so F3, 6, and 8 are due on Friday. So you need to have those due by Friday.
If we get 8 finished, can we get assigned off?
Your leaderboard did finish, yeah.
Can we use a